All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a tutorial for how to download and install LEGO Universe for single player only. This is going to be an unorthodox tutorial just because the written tutorial that they have down and some of the videos are kind of well over explained and has way too many steps. And I spent way too long trying to figure out how to do the multiplayer side, which will come in a separate video. But the single player side is definitely easier, and I'm going to do it the way that I know how it works. And it's super simple, super easy. Like I said, it's probably not the proper way that most people would do it for the single player side, but we're going to do it my way because I know it works, and let's get straight into it. All right, so what you're going to want to do is head over to Google. Once you get Google opened up, you're going to head to the search bar and type in Dark Flame. Once you type that in, you're going to click the first link here. It's going to be the Dark Flame Universe. Then you're going to scroll down to the frequently asked questions part, and you're going to click this first clickable link here. So it's going to be the official GitHub page for the Dark Flame Universe / Dark Flame server. So you're going to want to click on that. So what we're going to do is actually skip down to the bottom here. You're going to go all the way down. Just trust me here. You're going to skip all of this stuff. And once you hit Docker right here, when you see Docker, that's when you want to stop. Okay, it's basically at the bottom of the page. Now this is going to be the way how we do the single player tutorial, and this will also be for the multiplayer tutorial once I figure out how to actually get the IP address and stuff working. It's a little bit more than just port forwarding, just because of how this system works. I don't know how it works. I'm not a professional, but I know how to get the single player side to work. So first things first, what you're going to want to do is install the Docker desktop. So you're going to click on this. It's going to bring you to a whole nother page. And I haven't downloaded this on this system. I did it on my server that I built, but we're going to do it for this computer. So we're going to go to Docker desktop for Windows, and we're just going to get the first one here. So we're going to take this to downloads, save, and then we'll go back a couple pages so we can get back here. So once this is done downloaded, you're going to click the installer. Once the installer pops up, you're just going to click yes. Then it's going to pop up with its installation, add desktop shortcut. If you want to, you can. We'll just do it anyways. And it's going to start unpacking a bunch of files. All right. Now that it's done installing, it's going to say you're going to need to close and restart Windows in order to complete the installation. So, like I said, I haven't done this, so this will be a first time. We're going to stop the recording here, and I'll catch you guys when I load up the PC again. Now that your computer is restarted, you're going to finish the installation for the Docker setup. If you have a bunch of tabs popping up, that's fine. Just leave them there. If you don't, then open up the Docker desktop, and you're going to have a few icons that are going to be popping up. So what you're going to want to do is grab the console, which is going to be this black box here. And it's going to be Windows Subsystem for Linux. You're going to need to update it or install it. So in this case, we're going to need to install it. So we're going to press any key and it's going to install it. It's going to pop up with a little notification here. You're just going to click yes. And then it's going to download the Windows Subsystem for Linux. All right, that was pretty quick. Now just press any key to exit. And now we can take care of this little pop-up here. So to finish setting up the Docker desktop, we're just going to use the recommended settings here. Click finish. And another pop-up's going to come. You're just going to click yes again. All right, now that we're done with doing the pop-ups for Docker, it's pretty much ready to go. We're just going to click skip here, skip again, and we can close that out, and we're pretty much good to go. In my experience, you do not need to use this Docker system here. There is a terminal down in the bottom right that you can use for typing in commands and stuff. You can enable it by clicking enable. And now basically it's a command console, but with Docker. But in my experience, this was actually messing up the process. So we're not going to use it. We just have it installed to have it install. So you can close this out. All right, now that it's closed out, we're going to go back to the Dark Flame website. All right, like I said before, once we're back to the Dark Flame website, we're going to scroll down to the frequently asked questions. You're going to click the official GitHub and scroll all the way down to the Docker instructions here. All right, so now that we're back to the Docker instructions, the second thing we are going to have to take care of is actually getting a copy of the Lego Universe game itself. For legal reasons, I believe I cannot tell you how to actually get this or provide you with the file. I am going to tell you what version you need to acquire. But the version you're going to want to get here is going to be Lego Universe Client 1.10.64. So that's the client you're going to need to look for. Like I said, I don't know exactly which link to click, but I'm pretty sure you guys are well versed and knowledge on how to acquire it. You can get the compressed version or uncompressed, packed, unpacked, however you want to call it. Basically, I looked for the unpacked version and it's somewhere out there on the web. Now, how you get that, I'm sure you can figure it out pretty easy, but I can't tell you how to do it. All right, once you acquire the proper version of Lego Universe, you're going to go to your downloads and stuff, and you're going to find a Lego Universe unpacked.rar. Now, I have WinRAR installed. You can have 7-zip. If you don't have that downloaded, you can download it pretty easy. But basically, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to open this up, and you're going to see all the files you need for Lego Universe. So what you're actually going to do is put this wherever you want the server to reside on your computer. So I just have it in my system currently, and I have it in a folder called Lego Universe Example. This is just an example because I'm going to get rid of it later. So I have it inside the folder. So what you're going to want to do is actually right click on the file here, and then it's going to say extract all. You're going to click extract all. Now what you're going to want to do before you click extract, you're going to come over here and edit the name of this folder to client, and then you're just going to click extract. Now this folder is 3.18 gigabytes, but it's actually, when you extract it, 11.4 gigabytes. So this file is pretty big for this game, which is surprising, but it's going to take a while, and I'll catch you guys when it's done extracting. All right, so once your file is done extracting, it's actually going to open up the client tab, and this is going to be everything inside the folder. You can close this out, and this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have your folder here. You're going to have the RAR file. You can actually delete this file because you don't need it anymore. But if you want to hold on to it just in case to give it to somebody else or whatever, but we're just going to delete it for now. All right, so now that you're done with that step, we're going to move back over to the Dark Flame website and get right back to where we left off. So we left off on the installed Docker desktop, which we did. Now we're on to the next step, which is this directory stuff. Basically, all this is saying is, do you have the client folder downloaded, which we just did? And is it named client? If it's named client like we did, it's perfectly fine. So we're good to go. All right, now we're going to be downloading these two files called Docker Compose YML and .env.example. These two files are going to help run the game and get us actually playing. We're just going to click on the Docker Compose.yml. It's going to pull up a whole nother page here. You're going to go over to the right, and there's going to be a download raw file. You're going to click on that, and it's going to download the file. You're actually going to want to download this to where you have the actual client folder, which is the Lego Universe. So in this case, I have it on my system, and we're going to go back over to the Lego Universe example, and we're going to save it here. You want it next to the client folder. You do not want it inside the client folder. You want it next to it. So we're just going to click on that and click save. So it's going to save it there. And if we come over and check here, it's going to say the Docker Compose.yml is next to the client, which is what we want. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing with the .env file. So we're going to go back a page, and we're actually going to click on the .env.example, and it's going to take us to a whole nother page. You're going to go to the far right again. You're going to click the download raw file. You click on that, and we're going to save it next to the client as well. Not inside the client folder, next to it. So it's going to be inside the Lego Universe example folder, or whatever you name it. Click save. We're going to go verify, and bam, they're both next to the client folder. Now you're going to go back to the Dark Flame server website, and what it's going to tell us to do is now we're going to rename the .env.example file to only .env. Now, the reason why we do this is to actually get the file to work properly. If you do not rename it, it's not going to run properly. So we're going to come over to the env.example. We're going to rename it. Going to backspace all the way to the dot there. And you go to the very beginning and put a dot. So now .env, click enter. It's going to pop up with a warning. You're just going to click yes. And now it's a .env file, which is what we want. So now we're going to go back over to the website here. So the next step, we're actually going to have to update two different lines inside the .env file. It's going to be the account manager secret and the password here. So for the account manager secret, you're actually going to use this GitHub page for a random number generator, which is going to be a 256 hex key. So you're going to click on that. It's going to bring up the whole different website here. You're going to copy this output section, which is in the bottom right here. You're just going to copy this 256 key here. Copy. So now we go over to the .env. You're going to right click on it. You're going to open with and do Notepad. So you're going to come down. This is going to look a little weird and probably confusing to most people, but you're going to come down a few lines where you see account manager secret. This is where you're going to copy and paste the 256-bit key. So we're going to paste that in. It's going to put it in there. Don't need to mess with it after that. Now you're going to scroll down to the bottom until you see the password here, right? This password can be anything you want. Do not copy and paste the same thing here because it's going to come up with like an error saying the password's too long or whatever. So basically, I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is my password. Make it whatever you want. All right, so once you're done with the 256-bit key and actually changing the password down here, you're just going to click File and Save. Now you're pretty much done with this file. You can close it out and you do not need to touch it again. So now we're going to go back to the Dark Flame website. So this next step for the external IP, if you're doing single player, which we're doing, we do not need to worry about it because it's already set to local host, which means you can only play this on your local machine. Now, if you're doing the multiplayer side, which we will cover in a different video, this is the part where it got tricky and actually putting your IP address in was not working through Docker. So I still need to figure that out. So basically, we're on the home stretch here. All you need to do is pull up a terminal inside the folder that contains the docker compose.yml and client. So we're going to open up the folder here where we have our client, Docker Compose, and then the .env. All you're going to do is right click inside of here and click Open Terminal. It's going to open up a terminal. It already has the file location already preset because we opened it up inside it. So we don't have to worry about that. Now we're going to go back to the website. We are going to come over here where it says run the Docker Compose up D. We're going to copy Docker Compose up D. Just copy that line of code there. And we are going to paste it in by right clicking and then click enter. So your screen might be stuck for a little while and you're going to get a pop-up saying Docker Desktop Backend. You're just going to click allow. So basically what that line of code is going to do is going to pull files from the internet and put them inside your Lego Universe folder. So in this case, it brought over the server folder and it brought over the web folder. Now you don't really have to worry about any of these right now. If you close out your terminal, that's fine. You can open it back up just by right clicking inside the folder, opening up the terminal and just copying and pasting the same line of code. This is what it should look like once you have the actual files that it pulls from the internet. It's going to take a little while to do that, but don't worry. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to come up with checkmark, 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 running, 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 or it could say started and stuff like that. But as long as it's all green, you are good to go. Now, the next step you're going to do is actually go back to the website. You're going to go down to where you saw the code. You're going to actually go to the second run line and it's going to be Docker execute it DLU Dark Flame Server 1 app master server A. You're going to copy that So once you're back on the terminal, you're going to copy that line of code that we just copied, and you're going to click enter. Once you click enter on it, it's going to bring up the server. It's going to have you enter in a username. So this username is going to be for how you log in to Lego Universe. So in my case, I'm going to type in my username, which is Trialfail. You're going to click enter. Now you're going to have to enter a password for your username. Now, the only thing is when you're typing in this password, it's not going to show up on the line here because it's going to be hidden. Make sure you type it correctly, because if you don't, you're going to have to end up changing the password and stuff like that. So we're just going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to do a standard password that I use. Okay. Now I just typed in the password. It's invisible, but it is there. I promise you that. We're going to click enter. Now it says account created successfully. Remember, this is the username and password for your Lego Universe account that you're going to be using. So now you're going to have to give your account admin privileges. This is going to be the main account for the server. In this case, it's just the single player one. So 0 and 9 are the different numbers. So 0 is the player, 9 is the admin. We're going to select 9. And we're going to click enter. Now we just gave us admin privileges. Now you are complete. You are ready to go. You're ready to load the actual Lego Universe itself. You can technically close out this terminal and be fine, but what I recommend you doing is keeping this terminal up for when you're done playing. So all you got to do is minimize this. You can minimize this website because you do not need it anymore. The one thing I do want to point out is this open localhost 8000 is going to be the Nexus dashboard. You do not need to touch this because this is for multiplayer itself. Now, this is actually a single player tutorial, so we're not going to be using this part. Like I said, I couldn't figure out exactly how to get the Nexus dashboard to actually load on the IP instead of loading on localhost. We're skipping that. Do not touch it. All you're going to want to do is minimize the page or close it out. A quick side note for actually closing out the server on your computer. If you normally shut down your computer, it will actually stop the local server. But if you're still going to want to use your computer and you do not want the server running in the background, then this is how you actually stop the server. So basically, we actually inputted docker compose up D to actually start the server. In order to stop that session, you can't just close the game and it stops. It's still running on your computer, even if you close this command screen. So what you're going to do is type in docker compose down. And what that's going to do is actually stop the single player session on your computer. Like I said, if you actually shut down your computer, it will stop the session. But if you do not, it's still going to be running. So in this case, we're going to manually stop the session, and it will take some time. It doesn't take that long. It actually has predetermined times to how long it will take to start and stop. So don't worry about that. It's literally only 20 something seconds. And now everything has been stopped. Now we're going to go back to the actual client folder itself. We're going to open that up. You're going to scroll down till you see legouniverse.exe. You're just going to double click that to run it, and it's going to bring up the game. So I already have my username in here from testing this on my actual server computer, but basically it's going to pop up with nothing. And what you're going to do is type in the username and password you created in the terminal. So in my case, it's Trialfail. And then I'm going to type in my password. Okay. Now you're just going to click sign in. And it's waiting. And the game just loads in. Bada boom, bada bing. You're pretty much ready to go, boys. All you're going to do is create a character. We can use this as our character. Screw it. We'll just click play. Come up with a random name. I guess First Hot Peel is our name. We click play. Do we want to verify if this is our username that we're going to use in game? Yep. Okay. Now you can create multiple characters. We're only going to use one for right now. And click play. And bada boom, bada bing, you are playing Lego Universe in 2025 single player. Now stay tuned when I figure out actually how to make the multiplayer side work so you and your buddies can play LEGO Universe together in 2025. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.